Allow yourself to dream. If you could create the results you wanted inside of your business, what would you do with that money, with those clients? What if you could take care of yourself and have the things you desire? And even if you're a parent or the breadwinner, or even if you have debt or something to pay off, what if being a little bit selfish helps you fulfill that role and get you what you want all at the same time? You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast, and happy freaking New Year. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, and I am so excited to be back for another year of overcoming imposter syndrome and growing your coaching business and just stepping into the best version of you. And if you're new to this podcast, if you're like, hey, I'm going to start off with this episode, then hi, I'm happy to have you here. Like I said, my name is Jill, and I am a business and mindset mentor, and I help coaches overcome imposter syndrome so they can sign clients, because I believe that the number one thing that is getting in the way of you signing clients and growing your coaching business is imposter syndrome, and that feeling of, I don't want to be wrong, I don't want to put myself out there, and what if somebody calls me out, and I can't be that confident when I sell, because like, what if actually somebody buys, and then I don't know what I'm doing? Imposter syndrome is at the root at like 99% of your problems when it comes to your mindset in your business. And I have worked with people that are starting their businesses and people that are like in the multiple six-figure range, and imposter syndrome comes up at every single level, and I'm here to help you tackle it at every single level that you're in. So what I usually do is I usually do one podcast episode a week, and then I also have a series called Jill's Journal, and this is a raw, unfiltered, unedited podcast series where I just riff on anything and everything, and I don't let my virtual assistant touch it. She doesn't edit it, she doesn't listen to it beforehand, and I just upload it when I'm done recording, and that is going to be continuing this year, and I hope that you are able to go and listen back to some of the other episodes on this podcast. And also, if you are an avid listener and you haven't left a review, I would love for you to leave a 5-star review and just let people know that they should listen to this podcast if they are an entrepreneur, if they are trying to grow their business, and if they are struggling with imposter syndrome. I want them to know that this is the podcast for them. So let's get into it. This year on the pod, I'm just going to be as real as ever, while I hope also being insanely valuable and informative to your ear holes. And I want you to feel like your dreams and your goals are possible in 2023. And this podcast will be your friend on that journey. Another way that you can ensure that you hit all of your goals in 2023 and that you won't let imposter syndrome keep you from them for one more second is to join my one-to-one coaching program, Worthy and Wealthy. I am so excited to announce that I have been spending the last couple months developing a kick-ass curriculum to help you heal your shit and sign coaching clients. In addition to your weekly coaching sessions with me, access to me in Voxer, and something that is also new is that you'll get monthly workshops and group calls with my other private coaching clients, which I'm so excited about. Now is truly the best time to jump in because I am keeping the investment for January only at $8,000 USD, pay in full or payment plans available. And if you book your sales call between now and January 31st, I will honor that 2022 pricing, but then it will be increasing on February 1st, 2023. All right. So like I said, you get a brand new curriculum, weekly coaching calls, access to me in Voxer, and monthly workshops and group calls with my other coaching clients. It is literally the best container to help you become the most worthiest and wealthiest version of yourself in 2023. So go to the link in my show notes. If you've been listening to me for a while and you're like, I want to be in Jill's world, I want to double my confidence and double my clients, now is the time, okay? So like I said, go to the link in my show notes, book your sales call, and let's get you worthy and wealthy in 2023. And what's a new year without a podcast about goals? Set resolutions, don't set them. I don't give a shit, but you should never be complacent about setting goals as a business owner. Goals can help you truly quantum leap, and that's because their importance is more about who you are becoming instead of actually achieving the goal. And what's just as important as achieving your goals is having a why attached to them. You know, I actually set a goal in 2020. I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but in 2020, I took my Yes Supply certification, the first level, which is neurolinguistic programming and time techniques, EFT tapping, all that good stuff. So I took the first level in 2020, and it was in January. It was the new year, and it was actually the last class that Yes Supply had in person before the pandemic. So I was in person with all of these amazing people, and I set a goal to make $20K a month. And let me tell you, I was making like nothing in my business up until this point. Like, the income was very sporadic. When I say that I've made $400K in this business, it's essentially been since like the half end of 2019 and 2020, because it just took that long. It just took 2 years for me to actually get started and start to create consistent, really good income. So at the beginning of 2020, having a $20K month was insane. It was so out of reach to me, but I still set it. And then I ended up hitting it less than a year later in 2021. So again, your goals and your intention when you set the goals are very, very important. And what's most important about them is having that why, the why attached. And you know what? My why has everything to do with me and very little to do with anyone outside of me. And for so long, this was a source of shame for me. I call this 2022 marketing, but back then, when the coaching industry seemed to be popping off, everyone was like, what's your why? What's your why? And it felt like you had to tie it back to your family or your kids or your partner. And I was just like, man, I want to like pay off my own debt, travel, buy a house, have freedom, go to the spa like every month. My why was very self-centered, and I felt shame about that. I didn't start my business for my future children. I started my business for me. And there's obviously no shade to people who start their businesses for their families. That's amazing. I'm saying that because I did this for myself, I felt shame about it. And call it what you want, the patriarchy, the way women are socialized, whatever it is, but I wanted to make money for me. And for some reason, I felt shame about that. But I had to realize that it's okay to want things for myself. And what if that's just the way that I motivate myself? If you're not hitting your goals, it might be because you don't want it bad enough, and your why might not be enticing enough. And maybe this requires you to get real with yourself about what you want and why you want it. And what if you just didn't demonize the things that you wanted or the money that you wanted? When I think about just using my money for bills and debt and more quote unquote responsible things, it doesn't entice me as much as travel, saving for a house, or spa days do. This doesn't mean that I don't pay my bills or pay down my debt. It just means that when I think about setting goals and creating coaching stuff and coaching programs, I'm focusing more on achieving those things so I can have what I want. What I need is already taken care of, and it's almost like a non-negotiable for me to have that taken care of. And my conditioning, by the way, is very much have what you need and never have overflow. So I had a pattern of spending money until I ran out of it and always being right at my edge with what I need. So in order to unlearn this, I had to learn how to be safe with money, but I also had to learn how to live in overflow, how to be okay with having more than enough. And that had to come from a place of desire. It had to come from a place of, if I could have more than enough, what would I want to spend my money on? Your desires will always be embedded in your results. When you look at what you're creating, where is there evidence of your beliefs? Where is the evidence of the patterns you have with earning and receiving? This is why the subconscious mind work that I do with my clients is so important, because if you're not earning or receiving through your business, deep down you may not desire it. For example, if you're subconsciously afraid of signing a client because that means you could be found out, or you don't know what you would do with them, or you're unsure what result you would help them achieve, you actually may be pushing away clients. While this unconscious desire isn't exactly good for your results, you are still creating them from that place of desire. You can't avoid the things that you truly deeply want, even if what you want is not conducive for the higher good or for your benefits, okay? And that's all to do with the subconscious mind. So that's why we have things like self-sabotage, because our brains don't do things so it's good for us. They do things to protect us, to keep us safe and what's easy and what's repetitive, right? Especially if you have a neurodivergent brain. As you guys know, I have ADHD and actually I have ADHD, and I also think that I'm autistic because the pipeline from ADHD to autism TikTok is very strong. And as I began to unmask a lot of my ADHD symptoms, I was like, whoa, a lot of my symptoms are also autism. So there's that, but we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, a neurodivergent brain is driven by interest and incentivization. So it's actually in your best interest to think about what you want and actually let that drive you, instead of thinking I'm irresponsible for wanting this, I shouldn't, etc. Because either way, you're gonna pay your bills and your other responsibilities. Let's just say that that's a given, but letting your desires drive you might actually be the way to achieving those things, to achieving safety, so you can desire more. And how would you feel if your desires could never lead you astray? This might be what's missing in your goal setting. What is the goal helping you achieve, both as a person and in line with your desires, your true desires? I really don't want to skirt over the fact about being neurodivergent though, because guys, our brains literally function different than someone who is neurotypical. So it will only help you to remember that your brain responds to novelty or interest or incentivization way more than just responsibility and what you think you should do. You know, like that's why you think you're so bad and irresponsible and you can't stick to a routine and everything. It's like, what if that was just your brain? And what if you could use it for your good instead of thinking that there's something wrong with you and then try to shove yourself into responsibility and I should be doing this, etc. If you just trusted that your desires could never lead you astray. So allow yourself to dream. If you could create the results you wanted inside of your business, what would you do with that money, with those clients? What if you could take care of yourself and have the things you desire? And even if you're a parent or the breadwinner, or even if you have debt or something to pay off, what if being a little bit selfish helps you fulfill that role and get you what you want all at the same time? I've learned to always lead with my desires first and just assume that I'll have everything I need for my bills and other things. I'm not focused on my responsibilities. I'm focused on what exciting thing I'm saving up for, or how stacked my emergency bank is, or what gift I'm going to buy myself. I get to be taken care of. I get to feel safe with my money, and it gets to cover everything I need and everything I want. So now that you're in the new year and you have the whole of 2023 in front of you, I want you to sit down, make it a moment with a candle, some incense, whatever, and write a letter from your end of 2023 self and include what you desire to occur, acting as if the things you need are already well taken care of. Be selfish about your why, because it may be your ticket to actually achieving all the things you have in mind. It may be your motivation, and the only thing standing in your way could be the guilt or shame about you not being altruistic enough or not making it about other people, but your why gets to be about you, because you are the one creating it and doing everything it takes to achieve it. And like I said, if you're ready to achieve those 2023 goals, if you're ready to sign clients and grow your coaching business and say goodbye to imposter syndrome for good, book a sales call to work with me in private coaching for 6 months. I only have a couple spots left, and I will honor 2022 pricing at $8,000 for 6 months if you book your sales call through this month. So until January 31st. After that, on February 1st, 2023, I will be increasing the price. I can't wait to work with you and change your brain and your business forever. I love y'all, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to find out how you can take this work deeper with me in one-to-one coaching or in the From Imposter to Empowered group program. In the show notes, you'll also find a free 3-day challenge to start the process of overcoming your inner imposter. And once you're done with all of that, screenshot this episode and share it on Instagram, tagging me at your coach Jill so we can connect. See you next time.